In this video, I'll be reviewing the KastKing Zephyr 1000 series Finesse Spinning Reel. The box comes with instruction booklet, it comes with the reel itself, and it even comes with this awesome KastKing sticker. So the first thing you notice about the KastKing Zephyr 1000 when you take it out of the box is the sleek black and gold design. And there's up to 10 pounds of drag power in this reel for fighting those big fish with light line. It's got a lightweight carbon fiber body and an aluminum alloy main shaft at 5.3 ounces. This is a light and very strong reel. This reel features a 5.2 to 1 gear ratio. It was reviewed very well online, and at a $70 price point, this is a professional quality reel at an affordable price. And you can save 10 additional percent using my code SUNNY and using the link in the description. And now that we've got the KastKing reel paired up with some 6-pound line and a Bass Pro Microlight Graphite 6-foot spinning rod, it's time to test it out on some fish. So I started by tying on a 1/16 ounce white rooster tail and headed to the nearest lake in search of some hungry fish. The first thing I noticed about the KastKing Zephyr 1000 was the castability and how easily I could smoothly cast very small, lightweight lures great distances. I was able to very easily and quickly get the drag dialed in perfectly, and it wasn't long before I had my first fish on the white rooster tail. Nice crappie. I noticed right away that the reel felt very smooth as you reeled. It just feels nice to reel. It wasn't a big crappie, but it was definitely a pretty one. We got that fish back, kept fishing the white rooster tail, and almost immediately had our next fish on the line, which turned out to be another crappie. Similar size of the one before it, another nice looking fish. The white rooster tails seem to be working, and the KastKing Zephyr is a nice reel for fishing inline spinners and rooster tails. The 5.2 to 1 gear ratio is pretty much perfect for the speed of retrieve that I typically fish these spinners. The crappie sleigh fest continued after that, as I hooked another fish pretty quickly on the same lure. And another thing I should mention is that the reel handle feels really nice. I've had some reels where it just kind of feels awkward. This one feels really nice to hold, so that's definitely a plus. And there's a little bit better crappie right there, a white crappie. Not a monster, but the reel handled that no problem at all. Decent fish. I really like the markings on these little guys. Got him back, just doing some catch and release. And it wasn't long before I managed to catch a little dink bass. Another victim for the KastKing Zephyr. Obviously, got him back as well. And decided to switch to a goldish red rooster tail, another 1/16 ounce. And that immediately started catching dinks as well. Got another little bass. Slightly bigger than the last one, just a little upgrade on the new colored spinner. And I gotta reiterate that just the overall feel of this reel is very lightweight, very smooth, and it's perfect to pair with spinners, rooster tails, small lightweight lures with blades on them. And the goldish red rooster tail was hot as well. Started catching me crappie immediately, back to back, just like the white rooster tail did. I wasn't complaining, another pretty little crappie. No tanks yet, but they're definitely nice looking fish. We got one cruising shallow right there on the reddish gold rooster tail as well. And again, no problem for the KastKing Zephyr. Got that fish back and just kept on going. Hooked another fish on that same little spinner. Good little color. Didn't seem like color mattered too much at this point. Another nice looking fish. The wind was really kicking. But again, that castability of that reel is great because I was able to send those really lightweight spinners way out there, even with having to fight against all that wind. And since color didn't seem to matter, we decided to go with something crazy. Pink and chartreuse spinner, 1/16 ounce. First cast was a dink bass. Seemed to be the theme on those little spinners with the tiny bass. Crazy color on that spinner, but it seemed to get the job done. Got the little dude back, kept fishing, and caught what might have been the same bass immediately again. Slightly different markings, but the exact same size. Must have been his brother or something. Got him unhooked, got him back. He didn't weigh much more than the lure did itself. Wasn't much longer either. And that crazy colored rooster tail just kept putting in work, kept catching me nice fish. Another nice little black crappie right there. Thank you for biting. Got him back and just kept slamming him. Definitely liking that wild pink and chartreuse rooster tail. It seemed like the fish liked it as well. But it wasn't long before I decided to try something completely different. So I went with a 1/16 ounce jig head and a Bobby Garland split tail plastic and like a shad color. First cast, immediately hooked up. Very shallow. I noticed that this thing was able to cast really, really lightweight jigs just as easily as it was able to cast the rooster tails. And I didn't have any problem fishing the jigs with the reel. The speed was fine. Gear ratio was great. And I was able to keep it up out of the rocks. Wasn't getting snagged over and over. Didn't have to crank the heck out of the reel to keep that lightweight jig up and out of the rocks. And kept catching fish on that thing. I really like that color. Little shad colored jig. It was just slaying the crappie. And they were up shallow in the rocks. That was a ton of fun. Kept catching them. Wind kept on ripping. Pretty little fish on that same little lure. And the same reel. Nice little KastKing reel. Yeah, at this point I'd pretty much fallen in love with the reel, and I'm a big fan of that rod as well. I've actually used the combo multiple times since filming and editing this video. My girlfriend's used it as well. She likes it better than my $200 combo. Definitely catches fish. It definitely feels smooth. Definitely slings really small lightweight lures very far. Anyway, after wearing them out on that shad colored jig, I decided to tie on another colored jig. Kind of like a blue and pink thing here with a weird tail on it. See how that did. Immediately started catching fish. Seemed like they were just biting anything. I kept tying on different stuff to try it out. Just kind of having fun. Testing out that reel. Just really liking it so far. Feeling smooth. Slinging those lures. This crappie absolutely inhaled the jig. And it looks nice too. Just a good looking reel overall. That tiny little blue and pink looking jig thing kept doing well. Kept catching fish. It was even smaller. Probably should have even paired that with a more lightweight, smaller jig head, maybe like a 1/32 ounce. And I have no concern whatsoever that this reel would have absolutely no issue slinging an even lighter weight lure. You know, just as far as you would want to. After absolutely slaying them on this tiny little jig, catching some really good looking crappie, nothing big, but some good looking fish, I decided to tie on just an absolutely crazy jig, an even bigger one, some wild soft plastic, off-brand, crazy looking thing, a million little arms on it. See if that did any good, and as you can see by the video, immediately started catching fish on that too. And I didn't have any issue. This was a heavier, just a heavier overall body, so it sank faster, so I did have to reel it a little bit faster, but I didn't have any issue with that at all. I was able to keep it up out of the rocks. It's a smooth reel, no problem at all. It's very versatile. You can fish a lot of different types of small, lightweight lures with this reel without an issue at all. And I gotta say, you know it's a good day on the water when the absolute craziest, weirdest looking thing in your tackle box is still catching fish. I tie that on as a challenge. See how many legs that thing is? That thing has on it? It's just wild. But it was basically a challenge at that point. I was like, man, I've caught fish on everything else in the tackle box. Let's put this crazy off-brand thing on, see if it does any good. That's one of those things. Like, this is either gonna do good or the fish are gonna be like, what the heck? And yeah, that guy inhaled it. The fish were definitely interested in that thing, and it fished just fine on the reel. It was awesome. And so while I didn't get to put it to the test in this video, I definitely feel confident in landing bigger fish on that reel as well. I think if you played them right, it's got a really good drag system. I like catching large fish, heavy fish, big fighting fish on ultralight. It's a ton of fun. And speaking of big fish, this next little blue tube, Crappie Max tube that I tied on, it's one of those baits that I have definitely caught some really big fish on little soft plastic tubes like that, fishing them just like this. I've caught some big trout, some big bass, little plastic tubes like that. It's a tiny little bait, but for some reason, I've had a ton of success fishing those little tiny tubes. And this reel is it's definitely perfect for throwing little baits like that. So to conclude this review, while I sit here and slam fish on this little blue Crappie Max tube, I recommend this reel if you like ultralight fishing, small lightweight lures, or even live bait. I definitely would recommend pairing it with like 4 or 6 pound fluoro or maybe braided line and maybe like a 5 to 7 foot ultralight spinning rod. So definitely check out the link and the discount code in the description and pick up a KastKing Zephyr 1000 series Finesse Spinning Reel today, so you can have a ton of fun just like me with this super smooth reel, and you can launch these tiny little lightweight lures, all dozen of them that I've tried out today. You can launch those no problem halfway across the lake with this awesome little reel. And being a 1000 series finesse reel, it's even fun fighting, you know, little dink crappie and dink bass like I'm catching in this video. Fish that on a bigger reel you might not even really have to play very much. You might just ski them across the top of the water. It definitely makes the fights fun fighting a little smaller fish on a little reel like this. Beautiful reel. I highly recommend checking it out. Remember, there's a 10% discount code and all the other information that you need down in the description below. But overall, very smooth, very fun little finesse spinning reel. Thank you so much for watching.